for your attendance today through YouTube to our second activity of the second day of Team Conference. We will enjoy during the next 2 hours with some reflection and some presentations, because there are 2 keynote speakers, about the state-of-the-art technologies at the service of medical training and practice to foster digital health and ecosystem. The activity will be coordinated by Samuel Marcos Pablos. So thank you very much, Samuel.
Thank you. So thank you, Alicia. So let's start with this session. So this session is mainly focused on digital technologies in the province of health ecosystems. And as you know, the current trend of health providing is to evolve from monolithic services into more elaborated health services, which are provided by many different stakeholders with different collaboration mechanisms. And as such, in this session, we're going to talk about current technologies related to health and care. And also, I would like to show you some of the works that have been presented in this track, which are part of this digital health ecosystem. So, for example, there have been papers related to virtual and augmented reality, which probably Santiago is going to talk a little bit more about them. There have been presentations and papers about thermography, robotics, ergonomics, mobile apps, also 3D manufacturing and sensing, and 3D modeling and analysis, and expert systems. So as you can see, there are a lot of different technologies which are involved with this health and care provision. And also we have annotation tools and platforms in order to integrate these technologies. So I will encourage to all of the people who are watching us to watch the track videos and to read the conference papers in order to have a more in view of the work which is presented here. And as such, now I'm going to pass the presentation to Santiago González Izard, who is the CEO and founder of ARSOFT, which is a company here in Spain and in Salamanca, I think they're based, who is going to talk about virtual and augmented reality for medical applications. So Santiago, pass you the turn.
Yes, thank you, Samuel. I'm here.
I'll stop sharing the screen. So just 1 second. Okay, so all yours.
Hello? I'm not allowed to share my screen now. You have to give me permissions. Sorry, Samuel, I'm not hearing you. It was happening the same to me some seconds ago.
Yeah, sorry. Just give me a second and
okay.
Okay, so Santiago, I think that I should be able to...
I should be able now? No, not yet.
No, not yet. I don't know if maybe Alicia is the one who should, because I'm not able now to allow you. Now
who is
I'm
that?
the co-host, but I'm not able to. Just give me a second, and sorry for this.
No, don't worry. I can send you the presentation if you cannot, but it's really heavy.
Okay. Okay, maybe that's the. Just give me a sec.
Okay. The organizer is the one who should be able to do this.
Mhm. Well, if you want, I can. In the meantime, I can make the presentation about robotics, so
Yeah.
we don't stop. And in the meantime, I've already texted Alicia, who is the one who will give you permissions to make your presentation. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Done. Santiago, now you can share the screen.
Okay. Yes, I
Oh,
can
thank
now.
you. Thank you, Alicia.
Yes. Just tell me, please, when you can see my presentation. Are you already seeing it?
Not yet.
Okay. So, and now?
Mm. Yeah, I think that, yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay. Well, I will start then, right? Okay. I will try also uh, to start my video. Okay. My name is Santiago González Izard. I am the CEO of ARSOFT. We are a company based in Salamanca, specialized in augmented and virtual reality systems. Now I'm going to talk about the application of these technologies to the field of medicine. Just to talk a little bit about us, so I'm going to do this very quickly. We are a company working in different sectors, and medicine is one of our main sectors, and these are some of our clients and partners. And some awards that we have won during these years. Well, talking about augmented reality and virtual reality in medicine, I would like to start about what we were doing 20, 30 years ago. We collaborate with VisualMed Systems. This is a research group of University of Salamanca who has been working in these kind of systems for more than 20 years. So, before augmented and virtual reality, 3D models were also generated, and professional medical professionals used to work with them. We are going to see some images of different systems. 3D models are not new. The new thing is how we can visualize them, and also how we can generate them, as we are going to see later. So these are some of the anatomical visualizers that VisualMed Systems have generated some years ago. This is a video where we can see that the 3D model can be visualized from different perspectives, but in the screen, in the computer screen. So that is the problem, that you have a 3D model, but you have to visualize it in a screen. So at the end, you are visualizing it in 2 dimensions. What augmented and virtual reality bring us is the possibility of seeing it as if it were real. Well, some of the examples, I'm going to show all these slides, slides very fast, as I want to focus on the augmented and virtual reality systems. So of course, these systems are also very interesting. But using AR and VR, it's even more interesting. So let's focus on it. For example, this is an anatomical visualizer with augmented reality that we have implemented just as an example of the advantages that augmented reality can bring us. As an educational resource, I mean. Also for medical practice, we are going to see also some applications for medical practice. Okay, this is with 360 images, we can also get an immersion into, well, whatever we want, into an operating room or many other medical environments that can be very interesting for students, as they can know them without having to be there. So before starting, let's see where we can apply these technologies. For example, as educational resources, we can, well, by the way, the presentation is in Spanish. I hope this can help some people that are hearing us. And I'm sorry for all the other people that cannot speak or read Spanish. But I hope they can understand everything. And most of the presentation is going to be with images and videos. So I think there will not be any problem. Well, we can use the educational environments for immersion in operations. I think someone is trying to access. Okay, in operations, also for some immersive course, immersive training pills, for environment immersions, as I told before, 3D visualization, and also, and maybe the more interesting thing, are the simulators. We have designed different kind of virtual reality simulators, as we are going to see later. About medical practice, I'm going to present the possibility of seeing instructions with augmented reality about how to operate with different machines, for example, a system for remote assistance during operations, and also maybe the most important project that we have for medical practice. It's a system for 3D visualization of medical images with augmented and virtual reality, and also for automatic segmentation. Okay, before starting, I would like to explain the main difference between virtual, augmented, and mixed reality that are not really difficult. Virtual reality is the technology that allows a user to get a full immersion into a virtual world, a full immersion. So when I wear virtual reality glasses, I stop seeing the world that is around me. So it's a full immersion. However, when I talk about augmented reality, it involves that I can see the world around me, but with virtual information on it. For example, I will be able to see my friend with my augmented reality glasses with the Facebook information on his face. This is just an example. And mixed reality is the same as augmented reality, but it means that the virtual content is positioned on the real world. We are going to see some images. So virtual reality has been improving a lot during the last years. As we can see here, virtual reality headsets were really big just some years ago, as we can see. And now what we have are really advanced virtual reality headsets, and they are improving even really fast. For example, this is mixed reality because he's seeing the world around him. So it's mixed reality is a kind of augmented reality, but the virtual content is positioned on the world. And this is called mixed reality. We could also call it augmented reality, but Microsoft and some other companies has invented this this concept of mixed reality. How we can apply it? Also in industry, for example. In fact, we are applying this technology in industry a lot for different purposes, such as guiding for operators, but also for training. And what technology we should choose? Well, it depends on what we want. For example, if we are talking about training, maybe the best option is to choose virtual reality. But if we are talking about getting instructions during a surgery, or if we talk about industry during while we are doing some task, it's better to have a mixed or augmented reality glass. Well, now just focusing on the application of on medicine, we have been testing our systems with different students in University of Salamanca, medicine students, and we have implemented a platform for University of Salamanca that can be also applied for many other universities as Sorry, are you hearing me? I had a problem. Yes?
Now we're hearing you perfectly.
Okay. Sorry, my microphone was disconnected. Okay. Well, this platform can be very interesting for many, for all universities, and maybe more when we are talking now about remote education, COVID, etc. So now, maybe more than ever, these kind of technologies are very interesting, as students can access different training fields of different kinds. We can speak about simulators, virtual reality interactive simulators, but also about virtual immersions in order to know the different kind of machines that we can find in an operating room. Discover the anatomy of the human body in a very different way, being able to see all the anatomical structures in 3 dimensions with augmented or virtual reality. Well, we have a lot of options that are very interesting now. So, for example, this is a system that, well, I also presented a paper where I talk more about these systems, and I didn't want to repeat the same video, so that video is not here, but it is in the some of the papers presentation. Okay, so this system is a system where the user can be inside the human skull while he listens to the explanations of the professor. So during these explanations, he will make a travel inside the school while listening to the explanations. So this is very interesting because it's a very different way of understand the human, the anatomy of the human skull. By the way, this school has been generated from a real skull from medical images. More simulators that we have, for example, we have an auscultation, heart auscultation simulator where the user can hear the different sounds from the different auscultation points, and he has to detect what is the disease that that patient has, listening to the different sounds. So this is very interesting in order to train, because it's not always easy to go to well, to listen to real patients. This example, I'm going to disable the sound because I think you cannot hear the sound of the video. So this is an example of the virtual reality simulator. You are only seeing a video. Of course, this is better to see it with the virtual reality glasses. In the virtual reality system, on the screen that we can see here, you can also see the steps in a real surgery. Now what you have to do is to choose the different tools and proceed with the different steps of this protocol. That is like an scoliosis surgery. So the point here is that you can train as many times as you want in this protocol, doing the main steps. This is a simple protocol. We can create more complicated simulators, but I think it's a good example of what you can do with virtual reality. Also, the environment is a real surgery, and we can add information about interactive information about each of the machines that you can find in that surgery. So all these movements are done by with real movement of your hands with the virtual reality controller. Well, you can also choose different tools. I'm going to go on in order to be in time. Also, for all people, there are some studies that have been testing this, and they conclude that are really interesting for them because they can detect the movements of the hands, but also just to allow them to travel all around the world, for example, or to live different experience. Also, for some people with fears to, for example, spiders, you can create an immersion experience in order to solve that problem. We have also a platform in order to create augmented and virtual reality instructions, and that this can be very interesting to create augmented reality or virtual reality content to teach medical professionals while working with different machines that you can find in the hospital. And now, talking about medical practice, not for training, this remote assistance system that can work with different kind of different model of augmented reality glasses. This is for remote assistance during surgeries. So the doctor can transmit the video, and anyone all around the world can see what he's seeing and give him augmented reality indications, like you can see in the image, and also many other functionalities like sending images or videos of the patient, etc. And the doctor will be able to see all this information without having to touch anything that, as everyone knows, it's impossible because they contaminate their hands. We also have a project that it's the name is NextMed, where we have a software in order to automatically segment the different anatomical structures from medical images. So what we are seeing now is what our vision, artificial vision algorithms can do. In the left, we see the output of this algorithm that is an automatic segmentation of the lung. Now, lung without blood vessels. So this can generate what you can see on your right, that is a 3D model of the lung without having to do anything manually. So this is automatically segmented. And why we are doing this? Because we want to get this. We want the doctor to see the 3D model of the patient during the surgery, and also many other information that he or she has created before the surgery, during the planification. So with an augmented reality glasses, you can see all that information. This project has been funded by the European Union. And you can see here an example of what we have now, because the project has not finished yet. So you can see the different anatomical structures with augmented reality. And the point here is that, for example, Pepe could go to to get the radiological results, and in just 5 minutes, the doctor will be able to see the results, the medical images, but as you can see now in this video with augmented reality, and you can also have different tools in order to cut the 3D model, to create annotations on it, etc. Also, augmented reality could be used in hospitals in order to get something so simple as getting indications to get to a room, to whatever you want inside the hospital. In fact, we are installing this product for the first time in a very big hospital that is going to be opened during the next months in Toledo. And it's very interesting because it's very easy to understand the indications in order to get to your destiny. And that is all. More or less 20 minutes. And if everyone has a question, I suppose at the end we can talk about all this. So thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Santiago, for your really nice presentation. And yeah, I think that it's better to leave the questions for the end of the session, and gather them all together in the round table.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so just let me know if you can see the presentation now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So from now on, we are going to talk a little bit about robotics in health and care. Just a second, but let me share my video. Okay, there we go. So what kind of robotics we can have in the health and care province? So we can have we can divide this robotics development into rehab robotics, clinical robotics, and robots dedicated to care. So for example, robotics in rehab, we have here a short video about the Atlas 2030, which is a model that has been developed here in Spain. And the great thing about this work is that, for example, the joints of the exoskeleton have been patented also internationally, and it has won many different prizes. So I'll just let you see the video, which is self-explanatory. Okay, just let me know if you don't hear the videos properly or if they are too loud, okay?
No, Samuel, we cannot hear the videos. You need to put your audio high and not use earphones.
I'm not using earphones right now, but maybe I can, the audio, yeah, a little bit higher. Just give me a second. Because the main thing is that I think a couple of videos have not subtitles, so maybe there is a problem with that. Just give me a second. Okay. Do you see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's try with the next one. And if you don't hear the audio, just let me know and I can give you a brief explanation of it, okay? The next type of robotics that we can have are clinical robotics. Here I'm going to show you with the one that I think is the most relevant and more wide known surgical robotic system, which is the Da Vinci. And let's see if you can hear it, and if not, just let me know and I can talk to you.
We can hear.
You can hear it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Or maybe not. I thought we did, but not now.
Oh, that's a pity. Okay, I don't know if I can. Well, let's just explain a little bit about it. So this is the Da Vinci, which is a robotic platform which is designed to help surgeons in order to perform surgery. And this video is about a woman who has lung cancer, and they employ the the Da Vinci robot in order to be able to better extract the cancer cells. And the doctor is explaining that it has a really nice feel, and it's like being inside the patient. Okay, so now you're going to see what the doctor sees and how he operates the Da Vinci robot. Okay, so there you have the robotic arms, which are remotely controlled by the surgeon. Actually, in order to perform surgery interventions with the Da Vinci robots, you have to be trained. Okay, so not every doctor can perform surgery with these robots. And the last thing I wanted you to actually hear from this video was a doctor talking about that this kind of interventions could feel strange for the patient, as they are going to be touched and handled by a robot. So he says actually that this kind of procedures can be eerie, which means strange for the patient. And in this sense, there have been many different studies about how people feel about robots. And here you can see a couple of them, which were performed by the European Commission in a 2-period time. And you can see that, for example, having a robot to provide services and companionship to elderly or infirm people, the 30% of people who were surveyed felt comfortable, but the 51% felt totally uncomfortable about it. And having a medical operation performed out by a robot, just almost the 50% of the people felt uncomfortable about it. And if you compare the survey in a 2-year period, actually the amount of people who didn't feel comfortable about it didn't change actually. So now we go into care robots, and I wanted to point out this acceptance of robotics in medicine, because in terms of care robots, this is even more important, more pronounced. Here you can see the car robots, and I suppose you don't hear it as well, but I think it has subtitles, so you can follow it a little bit. The car robot is also a worldwide spread robot, and it's used to actually provide company to elderly people. And it was extensively used after the Fukushima incident in Japan. And it has different sensors, it's responsive to touch. And well, you can see some images of elderly people interacting with it. I wanted to notice that, as you know, we as humans tend to give things, we like to treat things as if they were humans. I mean, for example, if you have a car for a really long period of time, many people just give it a name. And for example, people who own a cleaning robot like a Roomba, actually you can see them getting mad at it, like you don't go where you're supposed to go and such. So people tend to anthropomorphize robots. And this is a very important thing, and it's good for robotic acceptance, but also it is a drawback in this sense. So the other type of care robots are anthropomorphic robots. And here you can see 4 examples. Then the care robot, which is a European development, the Moxie, which is a nurse robot, the P-Care robot, which is currently being developed, and the Robier robot, which helps people to stand up and lay down. And as I said, the main problem with robots, and mainly care robots, is that people tend to anthropomorphize them. And we can make use of them, but also you have to be careful on the level of anthropomorphism we give to them. Here you can see what is known as the uncanny valley, which represents the human acceptance, the human likeness, how people like the robot here in the familiarity axis, and against the human likeness of the robot. So the more human-like the robot is, people tend to like it better, until a point where this likeness, this acceptance of the robot decreases. And here you can see it called the uncanny valley. Why this happens? This happens because when you see a robot, you expect it to behave mostly like a human being. And the more the robot resembles a human being, the more you expect it to act as such. So for example, if you have a really anthropomorphic robot, a robot that resembles a human being really much, you expect it to behave as such. And if it doesn't, it looks like it's ill or it looks like a zombie. So you have to be really careful about that. So when you try to, in terms of care robots, I'm going to talk a little bit about them because my research till recently was focused on this. When you try to incorporate this kind of developments into the health ecosystem, you have to focus on the final user. And what does the final user think about robots? Mainly, this is the idea that the final user has. Here you can see a news that said that a robot goes rogue at a tech fair and injures visitor. And people thought actually that the robot displayed a frowning face in apparent show of remorse. So they thought that the robot was angry before hurting this visitor. But what really happened here was that there was a human error actually, but the people thought that the robot did it on purpose. So this is a problem, and I think that many people see robots and robots in health like this. So this is the idea they have. And we have to in the care domain, mainly, we have to deal with this. And how we can deal with this? We should actually follow a user-centered design and improve the user experience. So we should focus on the final user, research on his preferences, and develop based on his preferences, and make this loop over and over again in order to improve our robotic development. So here we can see one of the very first works that I did related to social robotics. It was in the Cartoonish Technology Center in Valladolid. And so we developed a 3D model of a human face and tried to animate it using something similar to robotic joints. So the idea was to share the same architecture of a robot. The robot you see on the left is the social robot Arisco, which was developed in Cartoonish. So we wanted to test if a more realistic face, which shared the same architecture as the robot, was better accepted than a cartoonish face of a robot. Here you can see both developments sharing the same architecture. So whenever they receive an impulse of performing a facial expression, you can see there that they do it all together. And we use it in order to evaluate if people prefer a cartoonish robotic face versus a more realistic robotic face, a more realistic, in this case, 3D animated face. And we performed a survey on 115 participants, divided into 3 groups. One group interacted with the robotic head, another group interacted with the avatar and did not know the person who was modeled, and the third group interacted with the avatar, but did know the modeled person in advance. And as conclusions, we can see here that the robotic hair was better considered in terms of face tracking, which is easy to see as it has a 3D construction, so it was able to follow the user face more easily. And also that the cartoonish appearance was better influenced positively in user sense of comfort. I mean, was better perceived in order to interact with it. But on the other hand, if you can see here, and on the right, for the animated avatar, if interacting with an avatar of an unknown person, the comfort of user decreases significantly. What this means is that if people knew the person who was modeled in advance, actually they accepted it better and gave it a better rates. So following this line of research, we perform a different kind of experiment. This was done in the UK, in the Science Museum, where we have a very simple robot which was able to change its face into a mixture of the faces that it was able to see. I mean, if you spend some time interacting with it, the robot face changes and turn into something similar to your face. And to let people interact with it for a period of time, we developed a rock, paper, scissors game, which was controlled with a Kinect camera. And while people were interacting with it, the robot was actually morphing its face into something similar to the human. I think at the end of the video, you will be able to see the robotic face actually in the display, resembling the user who was interacting with it. Yes, okay, so there you go. So we performed this experiment with 80 participants, 54 were males and 26 were females. And what we obtained here is that having a robot that resembled something similar to the user face was really appreciated by female participants, but not so much by males. And we found that we had a split attention problem. I mean, male people principally were just focused on the game and did not pay any attention to the face, but female participants were able to split their attention and actually perceive that the robotic face was resembling them. Okay. So another thing you have to take into account when developing social robotics and actually robotics for care is empathy in terms of what the robot should do when the user performs an action and express his feelings. Okay, so in this sense, we developed a facial recognition system, which was able to detect different micro expressions of the face, which are called action units, and from then extract the complex facial expression that the user is performing. And by using this development, we perform an experiment on empathy. And we use the same avatar that you see before, and we perform the experiment by using 2 groups of people and two conditions, actually. There were 20 participants, 10 of them interacted with the empathic version of the avatar and 10 with the non-empathic version. The empathic version just showed the users some pictures, and they were pictures of sad situations and happy situations and such. And the avatar detected how the user responded to it and mimicked its its response. And in the non-empathic version, it was the other way around. And here you can see that the non-empathic condition had a lower interaction satisfaction, but the standard deviation was high. And what this means is that people like interacting with avatars and robots that are empathic. But on the other hand, if you have a robot or an avatar which is too empathic, at the end it feels like you get bored for it. So people actually try to, when you interact with a robot for a long period of time, you expect it to behave somehow autonomously in terms of empathy and behavior. Other thing that you have to take into account when you develop a social robot for care is the expressiveness, okay? And the thing is that the recognition of facial expressions of emotion is developed over time. And if you have, well, if the user has different illness or conditions, they may be impaired. Here you can see the Gaspar robot, which is a robot designed to interact with children with autism. And as you can see, its face is quite hieratic. It doesn't have many facial expressiveness, but it was designed this way on purpose, because usually autistic children do not pay many attention on the facial expression. Okay, this robot actually has been widely used all over schools in the UK, and it responds to touch in its body. So, for example, autistic children sometimes they press too hard the robots, and it responds by saying, "Oh, you are hurting me," and such. And it has been demonstrated that this robot is able to improve the social capabilities of the autistic children. So in order to explore further in the sense of expressiveness of the robots, we also use the development of our 3D avatars in order to apply it to people that have that suffer from schizophrenia. And we developed an avatar which was based on the facial action coding system. The facial action coding system is a system that tells you which muscles or individual muscles or group of muscles are activated in order to perform micro expressions. Okay, so here you can see a table on the right. So for example, to blink or to close your eyes, you activate the action unit 14, and the action unit 14 is described as a small subset of muscles. And we wondered if this could be applied into the training of affect recognition, which is called TAR. And this is a methodology which is used with schizophrenic people in order to help them improve their social abilities. And we perform a pilot experiment using static images and the avatar. So we showed a control group and a group of people who suffered schizophrenia. We showed both the avatar and some images of people performing facial expressions. And as you can see, for the patient group, the success in the recognition of emotions proved to be correlated with their symptomatology. And also, as you can see there in the avatar versus images scores, some of the complex facial expressions were better recognized by using static images, but other ones were better recognized with the avatar. And the conclusion here is that the avatar was really helpful for the doctors, actually. And they told us that if they were able to actually control every single facial movement in order to perform, for example, a slight, small expressions, they could use these different degrees of expressiveness of the avatar in order to help them perform different recognition training programs. So we wanted to give this an opportunity and evolve a little bit more, and we designed a 3D robotic head based on this facial action coding system, which you can see here. So first, this video shows the mechatronic head without any facial mask. So this is the raw robot. Then we developed a silicone mask over it. So you can see here. And when the silicone mask was totally developed, this is the aspect of the robot. Okay, so the robot was able to perform some facial expressions, but you have to take into account that the silicone mask was really thick, so some expressions were not really intense. But anyhow, you can see that it's able to perform facial expressions. And as the low-level architecture was the same as the avatar and the robots, we were able to use our facial recognition software in order to mimic the user expressions. Maybe you can see that the robot is a little bit ugly, and you may wonder why it looks like an old person. The thing is that if you put, for example, a young appearance on your robot, you're going to have a really tight facial mask without wrinkles, as the one it has here. So when you make this robot perform some expressions, it looks like it's a little bit like a zombie. Actually, you may have seen some robotic heads on the internet, and when they perform facial expressions, as they don't have wrinkles in their faces, it doesn't look natural. So we decided to provide this robot the appearance of an old person in order to already have wrinkles on its face. Okay, and the idea was to apply this development in the training of affect recognition, but actually we stopped there, and we didn't have time to do so. And finally, the last thing I wanted to show you is how we can transfer, or we can try to transfer robotic developments between different domains. So this is Sacarino, which was a robot designed to be a bellboy in a hotel. And it was able to say hello to the guest, to provide them with information, to accompany the guest to the rooms. And well, it had different services which it could provide. And one of the things we studied here was what the robot should do. If the robot should start the interaction with the hosts, or if the robot should have an embodiment, or how close to the host should the robot be. Here you can see the output of a study we performed with 1985 interactions. And here we can see the output of the embodiment of the robot. We tested two conditions. So the robot with a robotic embodiment, or the robot with which was just a screen over a desk. I mean, it has the same functionality as the robot, but it was just a screen over a desk. As you can see here, the distance between the user and the robot is bigger when you have actually an embodiment, which is called proxemics, the study of proximity between user and the robot. When you have a robotic embodiment, the user tend to stand far apart from it, which is actually normal because the robot is able to move. But also, we detected that the hearing impairments and also a nice tendency, because the young people tend to be closer to the robot, but also the older people tend to be closer to the robot. And well, we associated this closeness of the older people to maybe just seeing or hearing impairments. The other thing that we tested was the interest of the robots, interest towards the robots in terms of age. And as you can see here, young people and old people tend to be slightly more interested to interact with Chacarino over long periods of time than middle-aged people. And after all these experiments, the robot was running in the hotel for 2 years. And after that, we decided to take this robot, this very same robot, because it has proven to be very useful. We decided to take it into a healthcare facility in order to see how it interacted with elderly people. And it's a pity that you can't hear the videos, because down here, I wanted to show you how an elderly woman, I don't know if you can hear this, because.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So what I want to show you here is that transferring developments from one domain to another is not an easy task. And if you have a robotic development who has proven to be very useful in a hotel environment, you cannot suppose that this development is going to work in a care facility. And that's why one of the papers of this session is focused on that, how we made these different changes into the robotic platform in order to accommodate it to the care facilities. And all these studies, which we have been performed, are being applied to a new robotic development, which is the robot Pepper. I don't know or Pepper, I don't know if you know it, but I wanted to show you. Yeah. This is the robot that has been used in CAR-T for the last years, and all this research that I've shown you in advance has been applied to this robot. I'll try to put the audio. Okay, so as conclusions, as you can see, the robotics in health and care can have many different applications. And when they are used on rehab or clinical environments, they are really less error tolerant. So you should pay a lot of attention on diminishing the errors. But when you develop robots for care, there are many other social aspects to be considered. And one of the questions that are still open is future generations will be more prone to use new technology. all kinds of technology, not only robots or social robots. And other question that arises here is the COVID-19 disease is going to be able to foster robotic acceptance and other technology developments acceptance in medical applications. So this last question, I want to leave it open and let the other participants have their opinion on it. I mean, I would like to see if some of you have had any difficulties in order to implement or apply the technologies that you have developed when you try to give it to the final user or doctors, or patients and such. So I'll just leave that question open, and should be, I think, our first theme of debate for the roundtable. So I will encourage any of the participants to share their opinion.
Thank you, Samuel, for the presentation, and it was very interesting. Talking about augmented and virtual reality applications, not only for doctors, but also for many other kinds of users, such as industry, education, etc. In my experience, it is difficult to integrate new technologies in the daily use when it's very innovative. That is what I find in the market. Mm-hmm. That people is used to to different kind of technologies, and when they have to start using a new technology and they have to learn how to use it, it's not always easy to integrate the technology. That is my experience, not only with medicine, but also with all the other sectors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there have been a couple of papers on this on how to studies, I think, with students, and I would like the authors of these papers, if they are here, to share their experience on that. And I don't know if you, Santiago, have one of them, which was related to evaluating how students, medicine students.
Yes, we have evaluated some of our systems with medical students from University of Salamanca. Mm-hmm. And what we conclude is that for students, it's a very interesting system, as the augmented and virtual reality technology allow them to visualize complex concepts in a different way, and it's very easy for them to understand, for example, the anatomical structures, the morphology of the anatomical structures, better than with just images or videos, or also with a book. What we did was to separate the students into two groups, and one of them used traditional educational tools in order to study the anatomical structures of the school, and the other group used our virtual reality system to study the same contents. And the results were really impressive, as the students who used the virtual reality system got really better marks than the other. So also they answered some questions about if it was easy or not, it was interesting for them or not, and questions like that. And most of them answered that it was easy and it was very interesting, because for them it was studying like a game. Gamification, the gamification concept that is really well known now. It's also very interesting for education, because they can study, they can learn new concepts in a system that it is like a game for them. So yes, it is very, very interesting, and the evaluation told us that they would like to use them. maybe we should also do some evaluation for teachers. So if for teachers, it's also interesting because for students, it is very interesting, that's for sure. But we didn't make an evaluation for teachers. So what happens when teachers has to start using augmented and virtual reality in order to create new content? Because when they have it created, when a company create it or something like that, it's very easy. They don't have to do anything. But what happens when they have to create the content for their students, and they cannot use the content that they already have created during the last years? They have to start from scratch. And that will be very interesting to know that, also to do an evaluation about that.
Yeah, I think there is actually a generational difference between
Exactly.
technology usage. And also, I think that, for example, in terms of robotics, which is the field that I know, studies have evolved, during the last decade. So, for example, acceptance to social robots in the 2010 was really low. But nowadays, if you perform studies with young people, actually they feel really comfortable with robotic development.
Yes, sure.
And
I think there are some people that want to make some questions because they are writing that in the chat.
okay, so yeah, let's hear what people want to. Just give me a second that I go to the chat. Yeah, I think now it's the turn for questions. I don't know if you are able to the attendants are able to talk. Are allowed to talk.
Yes.
You should be able to. Yes. So.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Felix from Politécnica de Valencia.
Hello, Felix.
Okay.
Hello, Felix.
I think the presentation were very interesting, but I am rather focused on the first presentation. I don't remember the presenter, the name of the presenter, the ARSOFT company.
Santiago.
Okay, Santiago. Only two fast questions about the use of augmented reality. And the first one is about the cost, the economical cost of developing this kind of augmented reality or virtual reality application. You mentioned a big budget, about 600,000 euros. But yeah, I experimented with Vuforia. I think you know Vuforia to develop small experiences. And this is my first question. Do you think that the cost is worthy? The economic and temporal cost to develop these resources, these educational training resources, is worthy?
Yes, Felix, thank you. Well, that budget was not for an augmented reality system in order to visualize just a model. That budget was for developing artificial intelligence algorithms, artificial vision algorithms, in order to segment different parts, different anatomical structures. Also to implement a backend in order to manage all the content. Also to implement a desktop application in order to visualize the results, and also for an augmented reality system, and also for a virtual reality system. I mean, that budget is for a very big project. In fact, we are going to need even much more budget to not only to finish the project, but also to be able to commercialize it. Yeah, exactly. So, but for example, the virtual reality simulator that you have seen, well, with a patient and that was implemented for more or less 10,000 euros. So the cost is not so high. And we have designed an application to allow universities to create their own content for free. Augmented reality, that you can find many applications in order to do that, but also for virtual reality. You can create virtual reality simulators in order to do that. So what you have seen, you can create it by your own without having to design, without having to to implement any kind of source code.
Interesting.
So the cost is not so high right now. You talked about Vuforia. With Vuforia, it's very easy to create augmented reality applications in order to visualize a 3D model. But our goal is to make it even easier and cheaper. So yes, the cost is
free.
not so high now.
At the moment.
Vuforia is free, but you have to spend some time in order to create the application.
Yeah,
if you have an application, exactly. If you have an application in order to do that fast, well, it's very easy. If you just want to put a 3D model on an image, that is not our goal. Our goal is to go further and to be able to create content not only with 3D models but also with animations, with videos, images, audios, etc.
And a second question is because you commented about some studies about the feedback gathered from the students. Okay, and I wonder if you have, because you commented the subjective perspective from the students, but I wonder if you have developed some student performance or evaluating the impact of using virtual reality of this kind of innovative methods when in their current studies. Not only the opinion, not only the subjective opinion. It's really there is an impact, a significant impact in their performance, their academic performance.
Yes, well, there are some other papers talking about that, but in our paper, what we did was, well, we evaluated this. We did with real content for anatomical subject, la asignatura, anatomical subject. And what we did was to split the students into two groups. One using traditional tools, as I told before, the other one using our virtual reality system in order to study the same content, but with traditional or innovative tools. And after that, we made a test to both groups. And what we got there was very impressive because it was the group who used our virtual reality system got better marks than the others. In my paper that we published it as a video in this Congress 14, we have the results and the graphics, so you can see them, and yes, it's very interesting. Also, yes, I have to recognize that for anatomical subject, it's normal because when you have to study the morphology of an a bone or organ, muscle, etc., it's better if you study it with the 3 dimensions. Yes. So we should have to evaluate also the results for other subjects, not for medicine, for other subjects, such as industry, such as chemistry, for example, or things like that. But in medicine, what we got was that it is the impact is very high. They got better results.
Okay, many thanks.
Thank you, Felix.
Bye.
Thank you very much. So are there any other questions? No? Okay, so I think it is 25 past 11. So if you want, we can leave it here. I would like to really thank Santiago for his contribution to this session, and also I would like to thank all the participants for their contributions to the team conference, and to congratulate them for the for their really nice work. And I hope to see you on the next team conference next year also, and on the rest of the presentations.
I hope not. We can do that in a physical way.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, so many thanks to all, and hope you have enjoyed this session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye to everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.